Resourceful Designer, episode 159, Understanding Priorities.
Welcome to the Resourceful Designer Podcast, offering solutions to streamline your graphic and web design business so you can get back to designing. And now, your host. Do you ever dream about color palettes? He does. Mark Dickout.
Welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am always grateful when you decide to plug me in your ears and spend a little bit of your time listening to me as we discuss growing our design businesses. Now, if this is your very first time tuning in to Resourceful Designer, thank you very much. I love that you're here, and I hope that if you do enjoy this episode, you decide to subscribe to the podcast. Now, just so you know, it is available everywhere podcasts can be found, including on iHeartRadio and Spotify, as well as having a very own Resourceful Designer app available for both iOS and Android. So you can get the podcast pretty much everywhere. Now, in this episode of the podcast, I'm going to talk about choosing what you do in order to focus on the growth of your business. I'm going to share a resource of the week that could help you get your name out there and hopefully attract more clients, before ending with a question from Greg about inspiration and improving one's style and abilities. Now, I always like to start off the show telling you a little bit about what I've been up to. Now, I've been spending a lot of time communicating with those in the Resourceful Designer community. We're having a really good time in there, getting to know each other, getting to know each other's businesses, really helping each other out. Think of the community as your very own accountability group, because it's more personal in that than another online community. We're really getting to understand each other and what each one of us is up to, which means the support we can give to each other is that much higher. And with a few more people that have joined the community this month, I just know as it grows, it's getting better and better. So if you are interested in the resourceful community, just learning more, visit resourcefuldesigner.com/community. And I would love to have you on the inside. Now, some other things that I've been up to this week. I've been working on a campaign for Facebook ads that I'm going to say a little bit more at the end of the episode. I'm not really enjoying that. It's for a client, not for myself, for a client that I agreed to take on this campaign, not just designing the ads, but running the ad campaign for them. I've also been working on a brand new website. I just got a contract signed for a brand new website for a new client. So I'm just getting that started. Did a couple of more podcast artworks for my new business, the podcastbranding.co that I just started recently. Now, another thing I'm really excited about, I got my hand on I say new camera. It's not new. I bought it used, but a new to me Canon 7D camera, which is a professional quality DSLR camera. And I got it for a steal. I saw it online. It was one of these online marketplaces, and somebody was selling this camera for $120. And I know on eBay and other used places, they're selling close to $500, if not more. So I got it for a steal. I had a previous older Canon camera, so all my lenses and attachments work with this one. And I've been having a lot of fun watching some videos, trying to figure out all the ins and outs of this particular camera. The reason I got this one is because it does have video capabilities, and I thought I might dive in a little bit more to the video side of things. Still keeping up the podcast. I will not give up this podcast, but it might be fun to do a few little videos here and there for things. So those are just a couple of the things that I've been up to this week. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, this week's resource of the week may help you get some clients, because what I want to share with you is in-person networking groups. These are things such as the BNI. If you've heard about it, I believe BNI stands for Business Network International. These are groups of business people, entrepreneurs that get together on a regular basis to discuss business and to share ideas as well as referrals. Now, I haven't been a big advocate of this in the past. I actually joined a BNI network in my area many years ago, and I had a very bad experience with it. I'm not going to get into that right now, but I did not enjoy it. In the past, I've actually downplayed their importance. But inside the Resourceful Designer community, we've had discussions recently about these sort of networking groups. And some people are talking about BNI, some were talking about another one called 1 Million Cups, which is not necessarily networking the same way, but something similar. Anyways, through the discussion, it kind of swayed me to think a little bit differently. And I thought, you know what? These people in the community, seem to be getting good traction through these groups. And the way they work, in case you're unfamiliar with them, would normally work, especially in these BNI groups. They're worldwide. There's BNI groups all over the world. And what they do is they usually allow a single person from an industry into the group. So if you get in and you're a web designer, they will only allow one web designer in the group. And they can have hundreds of different industries represented in the group, but only one from each profession. And the idea is that they try to support each other. So if somebody else hears of somebody that needs a website, they will refer you because you're a member of their group. Now, if they themselves need something, chances are they will turn to you. So a lot of people that are in these groups say that they pick up a lot of business, either from other fellow group members or they get referrals from fellow group members. So through the communication and the different conversations going on in the resourceful designer community, I've kind of changed my opinion, and I'm thinking of actually looking into the group again here. As I said, it was many, many years ago that I had joined, and it may be time for me to look into it again, just to see if there's a good spot for me. Now, it may be that there's no graphic or web design spot available, in which case, so be it. But if there is, it could be a good boon for my business. So I decided to share that as the resource of the week. In case you're not involved, you may want to look into this sort of thing. Now, usually there is a cost involved, so just have a look. And depending on your city, if you're in a big area, chances are there's more than one group that you could join. So that's this week's resource of the week. And now, understanding priorities. Whether your business is fairly new or if you've been doing this for many years, such as I have, we all started off our design businesses greedy. Now, what I mean by that is no matter what your intended business model was, chances are, at least at the start, you would take on any and all work that came your way. I don't know of any designer that's just starting out that was picky about the type of work they took on. Now, I'm not talking about price range here. Just because you have a new business is not a reason to start accepting $25 logo jobs just to get some money. You still have to have your principles. What I'm talking about here is the type of work. Logos, brochures, postcards, websites, banner ads, PowerPoint presentations, etc., etc., etc. If you're starting a web design business and a client asks you to design a logo and the money is good, chances are you took on that logo project, even if it didn't align with your business model of growing a web design business. You have to pay the bills after all, and money is money. But the issue with understanding priorities comes once the ball is rolling and your business is out of that infancy stage, if you will. At some point, once your business is up and running, you need to take some sort of measure of what it is you are doing and compare that to what it is you want to be doing. And then you ask yourself, am I saying yes to stuff I shouldn't be saying yes to? And the answer to that question should come easy once you understand your priorities. So what's important to you? What type of business do you want to run? The options are endless. Do you want to be a branding specialist? Do you want to focus your talents on print design? Do you want to create product packages? Is building websites your passion? Or is coming up with the best way for users to interact with things what excites you? There are so many possibilities when it comes to the design business, the design industry as a whole. And whatever direction you want to take for your business, you need to streamline your process in order to match it. And once you figure out where it is you want to go, all of your decisions, everything you do for your business is based on the direction of that goal. And all those decisions that you have to make, they become much clearer. And in turn, it becomes much easier for you to decide what you should be saying yes to and what you should be saying no to. You need to start off by thinking of all the things you're currently doing in your business. Out of all of those things, what can you clear out in order to focus your business direction? Here's an exercise you can try in understanding priorities. Take out a pad of paper. Actually, Post-it notes, if you have them, they work great for this exercise. So if you have some Post-it notes, get them out. Now, on each sheet, write out one thing you are currently doing with your business. Write out all the types of design jobs you take on. Write out all the peripheral jobs associated with those design jobs, such as photography. Do you do photography? Do you do photo editing, manipulation? Do you do copywriting as well? Everything that you do that is associated with the design job. Now, also write down things like the discovery research, file handling backups, archiving files afterwards. Every single thing you do. And you write each one of these on a separate piece of paper. Now, you're going to end up with a lot of sheets of paper in the end. But trust me, this exercise does work. Once you do that part, then you look at the administrative side of your business and you write down everything you do on the administrative side. Stuff like invoicing, bookkeeping, client follow-up, taxes, outreach, marketing, etc., etc., etc. Write down as many things as you can on as many sheets of paper or post-it notes as you need. Now, once you've exhausted your list and you can't think of anything else, then it's time to separate all of those items into 2 piles. You look at each node in turn and you ask yourself 2 questions. Does whatever is written down on this sheet of paper, does it bring me joy? Or another way of looking at it is, do I like doing this one particular thing? And question 2, am I good at this particular thing? If you answer yes to both those questions, does it bring you joy? And are you good at it? If you answer yes to both those questions, you put that in pile 1. Everything else, even if you answer yes to one of those questions, if you can't answer it to both, you put it into pile 2. So pile number 1 will be things that bring you joy or things you like doing and things that you're good at doing. And pile number 2 is anything that either you don't like doing or you're not good at doing. So everything else goes into pile 2. Now, once you have those separated into your 2 piles, I want you to look at pile number 1, the things you enjoy doing and that you're good at, and ask yourself one more question. And that question is, if I continue doing this thing or offering this service, whatever's written on this sheet of paper, will it help my business grow in the direction I want it to grow? And then again, you're going to turn that 1 pile into 2 piles. One that will help your business grow, and 1 pile that you don't think it will help your business grow. In the end, once you do this, you'll be left with a small pile of things that you enjoy doing, things that bring you joy, things that you're good at, and things that will help your business grow. Now, that pile are the things that you should prioritize in your business. Those are the things you should be marketing to potential clients. Those are the things you want to hone your skills on even further. Those are the things that will let you achieve your goals when it comes to your design business. Now, you may be wondering, well, Mark, what about the other piles of things that are also important to my business? Well, here's what you do with those other items. And it all comes down, once again, to understanding priorities. Now, I already had you take that first pile, the things that you enjoy doing and that you're good at, and break it into 2 sections, the things that'll help your business and things that won't. Well, the section that you created that won't help you grow your business, but they're things that you're good at and you enjoy doing, those are things that you can keep on doing, but only when required. You don't need to advertise those services or whatever it is. You don't need to list them. They're just things that you can do, that you're willing to do. So if a client asks you, oh, can you do this? That's the type of thing you say, sure, yeah, I can do that, no problem, because you're good at it and you enjoy doing it. It might not help your business grow per se, but if you can help a client out by offering that service, then why not? So you don't cut them out just because they won't help grow your business. You just don't make them a priority, or you don't focus on those items whenever you list all the services and things you offer. Now, when you originally divided the things into 2 piles, the second pile was the items that either don't bring you joy or you're not good at. Now, you're going to take that pile and you're going to do the same thing with them that you did with the first pile. You're going to divide that into 2 piles, one that helps your business grow and one that doesn't. The pile that will help your business grow becomes the stuff that you offload, meaning those are the things that you hire other people to do for you. These are all things that you either don't like doing, they don't bring you joy, or you're not good at, but you know that they are necessary to help grow your business. So why would you spend time doing things you don't like doing or you're not good at? Instead, find someone who both enjoys doing that particular thing and is good at doing that thing, and let them do it and let them help grow your business. There are people out there who love doing the tasks that you don't love doing. There are people out there who are very good at the tasks that you are no good doing. So take advantage of those people, eliminate those tasks from what you have to do, and let them help you grow your business by doing them for you. And finally, that leaves us with the very last pile. That's the items that you don't like doing, you're no good at, and they won't help your business grow. Well, this one's simple. Just stop doing them. They're a waste of time and they're a waste of resources on your part. They're not even worth the hassle of farming out or finding somebody to do them for you. If it's something you don't like doing, something you're no good at, and they won't help your business grow, there's no reason for you to keep on doing them. Remember that it's okay to say no if a client asks you if you offer a certain service. And if you don't want to do that, you can say, sorry, no, I don't offer that service. You'll have to find it somewhere else. You don't have to say yes to everything. And there will be certain things that fall into that category. And this isn't just for newcomers. I learned this lesson the hard way just this past week. I took on a Facebook ad campaign for a client. Not only did he want me to design the Facebook ads, he wanted me to manage his campaign for him in Facebook. And I agreed to it because I've done it before. I've done Facebook campaigns for myself and for other clients. And it was halfway through this week, and I realized that I really don't enjoy doing this. And I'll be honest, I'm not that particularly good at it. There are people way better at me than doing this sort of thing. Plus, it doesn't really align with the goals for my business. I don't want to be a business that offers this service. So why am I offering it? Why did I agree to this? And I came to realize that once this campaign is over for this one client, I'm no longer going to offer this service. If he asks me to do it again, I'll say, sorry, but I've learned my lesson and I'm not going to do that anymore. Or if another client comes around and asks, again, I won't do it. I might do it for myself, but even then, I don't enjoy doing it. It might just be easier for me to hire somebody to do it for me if I ever need to run Facebook ads for anything. So understanding priorities when it comes to your business is the key to its growth and success. Now, I understand when you're first starting out, you have to take on all these things in order to get the ball rolling, get the money coming in, build up some clients. But once you are out of that infancy stage, once things are somewhat established, then you can start going through this and dividing up what you do and focus on the things you like doing, things that bring you joy, and things that you're good at. Wouldn't it be wonderful if that's all you had to work on every day? Don't you think that would help you grow your business? Think how jealous people will be when you say that I absolutely love everything I do day in, day out, and that I'm making a good living at it. So once your business is off the ground and you gain a little bit of traction, I encourage you to look at everything you do and, just like your clothes closet, get rid of all the pieces that don't fit or the pieces that don't suit you anymore, and keep those that work for you and that bring you joy. And once you master this tactic of deciding what sticks and what doesn't, your business will have nowhere to go but up. Now, I would love to know what you thought of this topic. Visit resourcefuldesigner.com/episode 159 and leave a comment for this episode. And now, this week's question of the week. Now, this week's question comes in from Greg, and it's a little bit of a long one here, but I'll read through it. And Greg says, I've been running my own design business for a number of years, but I went to school as an opera singer. So I've been in fake it till you make it mode, and it's great to hear about this stuff from someone who actually knows what they're doing. I had a question for you. I've been doing this now for about 10 years, mostly web design, but it's only been in the last year or so that I've actually started trying to make it a main source of income. I had a decent talent for design and have become a pretty good web developer over the years, but because I only did it on the side and wasn't really immersed in the design world, whatever quote-unquote talent I had went untrained and unrefined. As a classical musician, I know firsthand that is never going to get my skills to where I want them to be. Now that I'm trying to level up, as it were, I'm finding that I'm rarely happy with my designs anymore. I dove into learning about design, which I think has significantly upgraded my tastes. But now I look at even my most recent designs and think, yeah, that is fine, but it's not amazing. It's been hard making money, not because I have any trouble finding clients, but because I don't feel confident about my work and I end up undercharging or waiting until I'm better before looking for new clients. In trying to figure out what's wrong, I've come to think that my design would have been great 10 years ago, but now the go-to design aspect that have worked for me for years look dated and unpolished. At the same time, I get tired of seeing websites that all basically look the same. Menu at the top, hero section with giant photo and CTA overlay, usually 3 columns below, and then some centered content, blah, blah, blah. So my current struggle is figuring out how I can design things that are unique, but still look modern and polished. To some degree, I know I just need to practice and learn more. But my question for you is, after all these years of doing what you do, how do you update your style? Are there resources you go to that talk about design trends, or do you just let yourself evolve as you go? And if so, is it just a matter of trying things until you figure out what you think works? Do you have ways of deciding which styles, techniques, design principles, etc. no longer work well? Are there other aesthetics that you look to, like fashion or music, that help you creatively connect to the modern world? Thanks for all the great info. Well, thank you very much for that question, Greg. And there's actually a lot of aspects to this question that I can get into here. First thing is you mentioned that you went to school for opera. Now, even though singing and music is considered an art, they're very, very different than the visual arts. When it comes to music, and I'm not saying I'm not musically inclined at all, but just from my general knowledge, when it comes to music, there's a right way and a wrong way. If you hit a wrong note, it is noticeable to everyone that's listening. Where in design is a lot more subjective, meaning something that you think doesn't look good might look good to somebody else. Something that you think looks amazing, somebody else won't like at all. Unlike music, where if the notes don't go well together, the general consensus is that it's bad. Design can be viewed from so many points of view, and so many different opinions can come out of it. So first off is don't compare what you're doing as a designer to your career learning to be a singer. It's two completely different ways of coming about it, even though they're both considered arts. So I wanted to get that out as the first thing. Now, the second thing I got from your question is right now it seems like you're showing a little bit of lack of confidence in your abilities. You're saying that you think that 10 years ago your talent was really good, but now 10 years removed, you don't think it's as good anymore. Well, that's probably your point of view. Just like if we go back to your singing, I'm sure when you first started your singing career, you probably thought you were good. You probably thought you needed to improve, but you thought you were good. Then, as you got better and better and better, you started picking out all the little flaws, all the little miscues or whatever. Again, I'm not musical, so bear with me. But the better you got, the more you started to spot those little things. And they're probably things that you never would have spotted when you first started out. So when you're looking at your design career and you're saying that 10 years ago you would have thought that your designs were really good and now they're not, that's just the progression of you being a designer. And a lot of this has to go with your confidence that you put out. Whenever you put out a design, you have to think confidently about your design. But the other thing is you got to remember that whatever you're doing, if clients are coming to you for something, they're hiring you because you are a quote-unquote expert at this. And they're hiring you because they don't necessarily have the skills to do this. So even the stuff that you think is bad, they might think is wonderful. I'm sure as a singer, you've probably gone to somebody after a concert or an opera or a play or whatever you were doing. And I'm sure you've gone to somebody and say, "Oh, I was horrible." And they're going to say, "Well, what are you talking about? You were wonderful. I didn't hear anything wrong." And yet you probably heard stuff in your performance that you thought could have been better. Well, you're probably doing the same thing with design. You're looking at your design and you're thinking, "Oh, this could be better. This could be better." But to a client, that design may be amazing. And that's actually a good thing. It's bad when a designer looks at the design and thinks that is absolutely amazing, because the whole point of being a designer is to constantly improve on what you do. We're constantly learning new things. We're constantly improving our styles. You talk about that in your question. Improving your styles, improving the aesthetics, improving your take, your delivery, everything you're doing with design, we're constantly improving it. At no point in my career of 30 years doing this have I ever thought, wow, this is a perfect design. Every single design I do, no matter how good or how well received they are, I always look at them and think there's something I could have done better. What that thing is, I don't know. I look at it and there's everything I've designed. I always think there's something that I probably could have done better if I had a little bit more time with it. And that's what I think from your question I'm getting here. This is what you're going through, is you want stuff to be perfect because that's what you were striving for as a singer. You had to be perfect in your mind. Otherwise, it would be noticeable. But those imperfections are usually not noticeable to most people that view design. I had a quote, I've shared this before on the podcast. My brother, before he passed, he was an artist, a painter. And when I was young, I watched him paint a painting one day, and then he stopped and he signed his name on it. And I know that when he signed his name on it, that meant it was over. And I asked him, I says, how do you know this painting was done? And he looked at me and he says, oh, the painting is never done. I just have to know when I'm done with the painting. And I've carried that into my design. At some point when you're designing something, you just have to say, enough's enough. This is good. This is what I'm going to present to my clients. So it's good that you have a critical eye when it comes to your design. It just means that you want to strive more and more. But keep in mind that you will never, unlike music where you hit those perfect notes and you get that perfect song, you will never have the perfect design. Or I hope you don't ever have that perfect design. Because the day you have that perfect design is the day you start going downhill as a designer. Because then you will feel like you'll never be able to achieve that level again. That perfect design always has to be something on the horizon, something you're striving for, and something that hopefully you never reach. So be confident in what you do. Remember that clients are hiring you for something that they can't do. So even if you perform at 80% as a designer instead of your full 100%, it's still so much better than what they can do and what they are expecting. So don't think just because you're not perfecting that you can't charge whatever you're worth. You're saying that you end up undercharging. Never do that. Learn to feel confident in what you are providing, even if you don't think they're perfect, because none of us, I don't know any designer who ever thought their work was perfect. You just need to keep at it. Now, as for the last part of your question, where you ask, after all these years of doing what I do, how do I update my style and what resources? I just look at everything. I study everything. Just like as a musician, I'm sure when you listen to something, you listen to the notes much more. I don't listen to a lot of music. And when I listen to a song as a whole. But I know some friends. I have a friend that's a guitarist, and he can pick out the guitar from a song and listen to every single note and almost drown out the singing, the bass, the drums. He can drown everything else out and just pick out the guitar. I can't do that. I'm sure as a singer, you can do the same thing. You can pick out all the things that the lead vocalist or vocals on any sort of music track, what they're doing, whether it's opera or anything else. I'm sure you can pick all that stuff out. Well, that's what I do as a designer. I look at things. Just this morning, I was watching SportsCenter on TV, catching the highlights from yesterday's hockey games, and they had a splash screen come on that just had some statistics and all that. I paused that screen because it was a new screen. I hadn't seen them use this screen before. I paused it because I wanted to see how they had put it together. They had a big number 30 for something, and there was a drop shadow, and they had a little bevel on it. And I paused that screen because I was looking at how did they put this together? What did they do? How is the positioning? How are things lining up? And I looked at it and I appreciated what they had done. Did I learn anything from that? I don't know. But maybe down the road, months, years from now, something might click. And I might not remember that it was that splash screen on that television screen that I saw. But something may click, and all of a sudden I'll do something different because of it. So I'm always, as I'm driving around, I look at billboards, I look at what's on the side of buses, I look at the side of buildings. I love going shopping with my wife just because I walk around, and as a creative person, I'm never bored. There's always something for me to look at. So I'll walk around as she's shopping, and every store has signs somewhere. And I look at the signs and I study them. There was a podcast episode where I mentioned where I was standing outside. There's a store called La Senza, which is a lingerie store. And my wife was in there and I hadn't gone in. I was standing outside the store waiting for her. And in the window was this huge poster of a woman, and she was just wearing bras and panties. And I was standing there just staring at this. And my wife came out and she just says, "What are you doing?" And I hadn't even noticed. I was looking at the way the type around her head and that was composed, and the lighting and all that stuff. Yes, it was an attractive woman in the poster, but that wasn't why I was staring at it. And my wife knew that when she came out. She's used to me. We've been married long enough that she knows that that's what I was looking at. But she just came out and she kind of scolded me a little bit because here I was standing outside the window staring at this poster of a woman in lingerie. But it's just all these things. Everywhere I go, every day of my life, I am looking at design in everything. From the junk mail I receive on a daily basis before they go in recycling, I look at them to see, is there anything on here I can pick up? To the websites I visit, is there something unique on here, something I can use, something different that maybe I can incorporate into a website? To billboards, to when I'm at the doctor's office, just looking at the walls, everywhere. And that's one of the best things about being a designer, this profession, is there's resources for us anywhere you look. Even if you're out walking in the middle of the woods, you can look at the way the trees, the light on the trees, the angle of the branches, everywhere. There's something that can inspire design. And then it's just a matter of trying those things out, of experimenting. That's what we do. We experiment on a daily basis. That's what design is experimentation. Use all these things, put them together in an aesthetic way, in a pleasing way, experiment until you come up with something that you think is good. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be good. And to us, what is good usually turns out to be amazing as far as the client's concerned. So anyways, I guess that's my answer to your question, Greg. Hopefully that's satisfying to you and to everybody else that's listening. Thank you so much for submitting it. Now, if you would like to have your question answered on a future episode of the podcast, please visit resourcefuldesigner.com/feedback and submit your question there. So thank you very much for tuning in. I want to remind you about the Resourceful Designer community. We're having some great conversations, some great video. The next video chat that we're going to be holding, which will be later this week, I believe, or next week, I should say. I think the topic is going to be hiring out, how to go about finding the right people, what sort of jobs to farm out, and how to manage these people. So we're going to have a great communication, great chat in there, and I would love for you to be a part of it. So if you're interested in seeing more about what the Resourceful Designer community is, please visit resourcefuldesigner.com/community, where you can sign up. Now, if you'd like to support the show, please tell your design friends about it. It's available everywhere podcasts can be found, including on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and of course the app for iOS and Android. So please help support Resourceful Designer by spreading the news and telling your design friends. So that's it for me this week. I am Mark Decote, wishing you all the best with your graphic design business and reminding you to stay creative.
Thanks for listening to the Resourceful Designer Podcast at resourcefuldesigner.com.